Yo, what's good, guys? This is James bringing you another deck profile here for the Minaras Club on YouTube.com. Today I'm going to be profiling my Turles deck for the Year of Our Lord 2022. It's been really sweet. I was running it at locals today. I went 3-0 with it. It was kind of more of a casual night over at our locals, but it was still fun to play, mess around with the deck, see the ratios, and it performed really, really well. It felt super good. So I just wanted to bring you guys the updated profile. The deck looks a little bit different than the last time I had it on the channel, and so I'll just get right into it. So we have our leader and the Tree of Might that it starts in play in our opponent's battle area. Remember, it's not a field card, so it doesn't conflict with your opponent's field cards in any way. And it's hard to remove. I did get it removed twice today in the same game against a Zamasu player who used the Zeno Unison twice to shuffle it back into deck. I drew it, put it back in his battle area, and shuffled it back in. Still ended up being able to clutch that game out, but that was really, really close. But for the most part, you can't really mess with it. Leader on the front has just kind of an ability that stops you from using Successor, essentially, in the deck, because it would be kind of broken with Successor. He has Self-Awaken. When he attacks, you take a life, and then take up to 5 for Turtle's Crusher Core, put it in your hand. So it's really strong. He can just, get down to 4, basically on his own time. And then he also has an alternate awakening if your opponent has 3 or more life face up, but that doesn't really come up in this deck because we want to be at 4 life as soon as possible to get our super combos online. Not necessarily as soon as possible, but we want to be at 4 life eventually. We're not looking to stall out the game, so we want to be the aggressor in most situations and make sure our super combos are online. So that is that, and untap 1, draw 1 for Awaken. On the back, same ability. If your leader deals damage, you can choose what life to give your opponent, which is really cool because you're going to be looking at your opponent's life and seeing what they're adding to their hand every time with all of our life manipulation effects, and so you can take advantage of that. And then he can, once per turn, take a card from your hand, put it on the bottom of your deck, and grab back a fruit from your drop area. Make sure you always have fruit. Just make sure, keep in mind, you want to use this before you Overwhelm if you're planning an Overwhelm, because you don't want to lose your fruit that you have in your drop area. Otherwise, we'll just get right into the rest of the deck here. So, we'll just start it out with our Turleses, the heart and soul of the deck. They are what work with our fruit of the Tree of Might. We've got our Turles Crusher Core Commander, pseudo arrival card, just supremely awesome. He's a 20k for 1 with upside and card filter, really good, and deflect, super good. Turles leading the core. This is a TP. I'm playing 4. I think playing 4 is optimal. This card's crazy. It gives you massive extension on turn 2 and turn 3 by letting you evolve over your Turles Crusher Core Commander, and then go into some more plays and just could play another Turles Crusher Core Commander, get around your unique on your Crusher Core Commander, and just get more pluses going. He also searches a fruit and has even ability to let your guys come into play in active mode if you combo them on your opponent's turn, so you get even more defense. Super good card. These are going to be our main beaters in the deck because they pair with the fruit along with our leader. Then we have the support guys, the actual Crusher Core themselves. So we've got the 4 Lockasy, the 4 Raisin. Lockasy plays Raisin, Raisin's a blocker, and Lockasy loots. Super, super strong, just awesome filtering. These are the staples of the deck. 3 dies, he's a little worse. He digs 3 for a Crusher Core member, but, and you oftentimes end up whiffing just because there isn't a ton of Crusher Core in the deck, and your leader already takes a whole bunch out of your deck, but, it's better than nothing, and we need to have guys in our combo area to facilitate the Crusher Core Commander arrival, essentially. We want to have a good amount to make sure we're having 2 guys in our combo area around turn 2 when we want to start making this play. And then we have our 4 super combos, which are just Cacao, Invader of Earth. He's a vanilla super combo, but he is a Crusher Core member, which means he's tutorable with dies and with your leader, so he's just incredibly strong, and he works with your Crusher Core Commander by being a Crusher Core that you end up with in your combo area a lot. Really strong. That's the core of our deck, no pun intended. Then we've got our Unison package coming up here. Oop, left Lockasy in play. Unison package. 4 Demigra. He's just really good. He's awesome. He's Demigra. What do you want to do? You're a green deck without an archetype-specific Unison. Well, there is one, but he sucks because he costs 3. This is an aggressively costed one. He keeps you going on your Self-Awakening. If they want to attack him, you can just keep taking life anyway. Gets around barrier, so you can get rid of annoying things like Lord Slug, Super Namekian, and stuff. And, you know, keep him on 2 markers for your charismatic villains, which we're also playing 4 of. Really small unison package, but charismatic villain is completely worth the payoff, and Demigra is just a 15k beater on his own in a deck that's already quite aggressive, and can help you get around some really annoying effects. I did also have 1 tech with Hirudegarn Giant Force as my 5th unison, because I was running the numbers, and it made sense to have a 5th unison, you know, when I was just doing, like, the hypergeometric distribution or whatever. It made more sense to have a 5th one than to have 6, at least to make sure I kept the deck count down. And Hirudegarn seemed like the next best one because he's, again, aggressively costed. He only costs 1, and then he can't attack if you're playing him for 1. He can end up attacking later, but he's a 15k, so he's hard to deal with, unlike the other 1-cost unisons. Your opponent has to actually commit some stuff to deal with him if you play him on turn 1. He also has a cool auto against decks that are looking to manipulate the combo area, because he has an auto, choose 1 card in your hand, discard it. When your opponent combos, you place up to 1 card in their combo area in their drop area. So if they're trying to, like, arrival or use, like, a Raider's War Cry or something like that, it can be really helpful. This didn't end up coming up in the event, but I just wanted it as the 5th unison. Demigrudge was just always there when I needed him, but I think the consistency makes sense to have a 5th one. You can also, he has the +2 where you can choose 1 card in your hand and discard it. You have to if you want a +2, otherwise you can just +1. There are some cards that do benefit from being in the drop area in our deck, so it's not the worst to want to get that extra marker, but you can always just +1 him and just keep him as a wall to make sure your charismatics are online. It's kind of my spicy tech for right now. We can do our extra cards. We've got our 4 fruits. You got to play 4 fruits. You want to make sure there's 1 in your deck at all times between your leader putting them back and your Crusher Core putting them back. 2 Dormants. This card was an MVP. I don't think I'd play more than 2. 2 just felt perfect. I'd probably side more if I was playing a best of 3. 2 Homicidal Clones. Just that extra little defense. And then I've got 2 Kill Driver. I'm currently at 52 cards, including the Tree of Might, which starts in play, so it's basically 51. But if you wanted to cut the cards, this might be a slot to cut. I really like this card for best of 1, just because it can help deal with big things like Yellow Sin Shenron and stuff that you'd really just want to take out. It's a good energy sink, too, because we end up not having a ton to spend our energy on, because so many of our plays are so cheap, that just having the 10k draw card is also extremely helpful. And, you know, you can use it defensively as well. So it's a solid option. You can always side deck it if you're playing best of 3, but I like having a couple in the main and best of 1 just to help with the corner cases and, you know, worst case scenario, it's energy. Got our tech here. So I wanted to have a couple of cards to combo with our Locacy and Raisin duo, because when you use Locacy, you draw 1 and discard 1, which isn't really card advantage, it's just card filtering. But we used to be able to turn that into card advantage with the free play Beerus that we're no longer allowed to play because it's banned, which was a big hit to this deck. So I wanted to go back to the drawing board and figure out some things that were worthwhile putting into our drop area to give us more card advantage, or at least pseudo card advantage. I tried a few different options, and I ended up landing on these. So I'm playing 3 Bardock the Eliminator, which is kind of like it's kind of like the Draw Ape Goku, but you just pay 1, warp it, and draw 1. So it's literally half of a Draw Ape Goku. You can play Draw Ape Goku instead, but I think this card's better in this deck because we want to be more up-tempo. We don't want to necessarily invest a whole turn just drawing cards, but if we have a spare energy and he's in the drop area, then we can just warp him and draw a card, and it's solid. And again, it turns this into card advantage. And then I have 2 Koitsukai, Mechanical Courage. Obviously, this card's fantastic at stopping your opponent's floodgates and big turns, token negate stuff. Anything that's trying to choke you up on your big swing. But also it has a great filter effect where you can put up to 2 cards from your hand on the bottom of your deck and then draw 2, which is actually extremely helpful with this deck because we want to make sure our fruit is in our deck every turn if we're not using it, to make sure we're getting free cards off of Tree of Might, as well as our TP promo Turles leading the core. So being able to restock fruit's really good, but also being able to restock Raisin into your deck is extremely good because you can play it off of Locacy from your deck. But if there's none to play out of the deck, then you're not getting your free cards. So, you know, the restock is extremely helpful. I only have 2 Koitsukais. I could see myself playing a 3rd, depending on the meta. I just wanted to have 5 of these cards total to make sure I was drawing them a decent amount of the time to go with our Raisin Lockasy combo. This is another spot where if you wanted to trim it down to 50, this might be a spot to hedge, but I just like having, like, playing a couple more cards than 50 and making sure I'm having beefier numbers for all of my cards I want to see. So that's kind of my spicy tech there. That's not super spicy, but it's mildly spicy tech. And then our finishers for the deck. We got 2 Overwhelm cards. We've got 1 Secret ID and 1 Fighting Against Fate, because I never know which one I want to play on any given day, especially for a best of 1 event like this, so I just wanted to make sure I had my bases covered. You can use whichever one you like more. If you want to just play only one and have the consistency, maybe side the other one, but I like just having one of each. It worked out fine. They're usually both good in similar spots and also can help you get out of different ones, so that's fine. We got 1 Champa. We do have 4 Fruits, which are like super Champas, but they only work on Turles cards. And one of the weaknesses of this deck is your opponent pinpointing the Turles attacks and stopping them. The TP does help mitigate this a little bit by giving you more free Turles cards and letting you reuse your unique one and play them out again, so you get multiple Turles swings. But you can still end up getting choked up, and the Fruit can't give power to your Unison or anything, so Champa can help you win the game on a double strike with like an Overwhelm card or, you know, your Unison or whatever. So I think having the extra Champa is really helpful. I did win 1 game off of putting double strike on my Unison with Champa, so that was cool. They weren't really expecting to get double strike from that spot. And then 1 Pan as our secret rare. You can play whatever secret rare you want. I used to play Supreme Kai of Time. I think they're both good in their own way. Pan is nice because this deck's a little bit more up-tempo, a little more aggressive, so just having the free 40k body can be really good. But if you're playing against a lot of like mid-range mirrors, you might want Supreme Kai of Time just to like deal with their board. You can also play any of the green secret rares. Green obviously has some really good ones, except for Cell because you can't Successor. But you can play Kibito Kai. That card's really good. You can, you know, even just using it as like a 40k crit for 2 is solid, and you can also use the Battering Laser Boo Janemba, I think it is, because that can help you get in an attack with like one of your guys. I think Pan is probably the best secret rare for the deck. Pan and Kai, it's kind of a toss-up. I just like that this costs 0, whereas Kai costs 1 if you want to beat down with it. So, and this also helps supplement your Floodgates a little bit, because it's kind of like a third Dormant Potential Unleashed, essentially, where it can help you stave off an aggro turn. But yeah, that's the deck, guys. It was super fun to play. Really fun. I don't really have much to say other than it was really fun. I just have a blast with this leader every time I revisit it. I don't get to play green decks that often because my wife's often using the green staples, but, you know, I like to take him out for a stroll every now and then, revisit him, and this is definitely a deck that I think is worth looking at again. It's really easy to pick up the pieces for, and definitely recommend it if you like tempo style strategies or aggressive strategies. So yeah, thanks for checking out the video, guys. Make sure to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. If you got any ideas for any extra tech you could throw in the deck, or any questions or anything, hit us up in the comment section below. Again, subscribe to the channel if you're new, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.